Namaskar. Good morning. This is Eng Suraj Singh, Certified Professional Engineer, Bharat. In continuation to my previous chapters of engineering, I will now discuss about the engineering-based development appraisal to general public, professional awareness, backbone of any nation, building activities, systems, residents' needs, cultural needs, acoustics. This is now a different type of chapter, though it is in continuation to the previous engineering one. It is regarding activities of buildings and systems and residents' needs and cultural needs and acoustics, which are very important from the viewpoint of the design of a building and to satisfy the requirement of the public. This is serial number 5 of the sequence. This is now let's repeat as previously I used to do, just for briefing the public about what it should be, and I am telling about that. The word of engineering sciences, their applications, impact on the economy, health, safety, and environment, qualities, society, all relevant, and others. Buildings construction in Bharat, that is our India, and advice to general public, buildings activities, and relevant systems. Detailed description of buildings, operations and requirements, construction, understandable knowledge, industrial awareness. These are the objectives. Now let us say furthermore objectives. In details, level 1. Engineering science applies to the whole world developments. Engineering is the basis of any society. Without engineering, the human had to remain ancient. Civil engineering is the basis of all structures and infrastructures. Design and planning of buildings is a vast discipline. Building is the most significant commodity to make a lifetime purchase. The owner should be careful while spending money on buildings. Owner should not trust the building quick builders or other trade-oriented persons or artisans. Civil engineer service is a must. Though people don't understand that, they are not aware about civil engineering, but civil engineering is the root. Civil engineering is the basics. Civil engineering is the you can say, without civil engineering it's not possible to construct a good building. Engineering is an art-based science with widest network. In fact, engineering is a mind religion. It is fully linked to the mind mental state of a person to create something using the technology. Without engineering, Ramayana could not be completed, and Mahabharata building was also set on fire due to lack of engineering good material. Inclusion of engineering good materials. Is a planned building to be set on fire. Ram Setu, the bridge connecting the two nations, Sri Lanka and our country, Bharat, is also a marvel of ancient engineering, not learned from any university but from Vishwakarma. Engineer Neil was responsible for the design and construction of that bridge, though it may not be accepted by the whole world. The universal engineer is Vishwakarma, who gives knowledge to all the engineers. So we don't believe in our engineering program that this is what Vishwakarma is responsible for. But Vishwakarma is responsible because Vish means work and Kar means work. You have a right to check about your building. Every owner has a right to check about building like a commodity. And it comes under Consumer Act now. It should be well returned. The owner should treat the building as a temple for those users who shall live for decades with their souls. Building is not just an item for the business or for earning money or earning profit or selling and then getting the profit or renting it and then getting the rent monthly. It's not only from that viewpoint, from commerce, but also from a conscious viewpoint that the people who are going to live in this are human beings having good souls, and they must be accommodated comfortably with true minds and true hearts. Without engineering, nothing is possible. Yet the professionals are most unbeneficial and society is unaware about their sacrifices. The public has to look into the pros and cons of the engineering and recognize the efforts contributed by the engineers. The purchaser has to involve self to contribute for a better product. It's simply not a product. It's a long-term product. A product that's going to live for decades or in some cases for centuries. So it is not an ordinary product. Building should be treated like any live machine that works as seen by the eyes, but building is not considered as such, unfortunately. The building also vibrates, respires, and talks to the human being while it performs forever. During its service, it talks, it responds, it speaks, it shows, indicates. So many things are there, so many items are there. So many parameters are there, so many characteristics are there that must be understood. No politics can sustain the national development, national advancement without the role of engineering. Engineering is not a word, it's not a verb. It's a profession, it's an engineering in religion. Engineers can change the national power, national status in the world, and they are doing. They are developing the whole world, they are developing the nation, they are developing the state, they are developing the area, they are developing the constituencies. Engineers are to be credited. They are not given, but they should be credited with the due social regards, professional regards, as well as national regards. The engineers are not seen in public practically, but must be recognized for the sake of better understanding, better relations, and given the due status and regards. In most cases, engineers intend to deliver goods quality products, but due to special circumstances, special environment problems of commercial benefits to the promoters or political involvement or interference, they have reservations too, or they are bossed over by those non-engineering officials who press them to do the work according to the non-engineering requirement. Buildings are required for every manufacturing unit, for all residences and for all commercial units, for all railways halts and for all offices, for most of the activities and means required in life. It's not buildings alone for residents, it's for whole country is based on buildings, whatever type of building is there. Whole economy is based on the buildings. Everywhere building is used. From a, you can say, WC, a toilet to the parliament, all buildings are used in a palace, in a cinema, everywhere, railways. Just name it, and we'll tell you where it is used. So it's a very important aspect of engineering that impacts the life and economy of a nation and society. Building is very, very important from the living point of view, from distance point of view, from sleeping point of view, from safety point of view, from you can say cautious point of view, from religious point of view. Mosque is a building, temple is a building, everything is a building. All other professions shall be worthless without the contribution of engineering in the global scenario. Engineering travels its journey from a dream to a made up project. Made up means produced projects, manufactured work, executed work, a dream coming true. It has come true many times. It comes true every time. It needs the hard work, it needs the true mind, it needs the good mind. Buildings are a must for the operations of all other professions. No profession can operate without buildings. Nothing can move without buildings. Do not allow your building to be converted to a graveyard. You know graveyard I am calling. When it fails during earthquake or any other event, any other is happening, people using it at that time shall die. So it will convert to a graveyard. Building is not meant for a day or for a month, but for generations to come. Save your generations from dying, from being killed under the collapse of the structure. As a structure will collapse, a structure will not move an application to you or to the government that I'm going to collapse. It will not give any notice. It will not give any sign. It will suddenly collapse and kill everybody, living or using that or standing below that. Actually, in reality, buildings build the human. The buildings is a live art, a live science, a live architecture, a live emotion, a live security, a live existence, and everything live that is building. Building and building. Any kind of building. Means without building, you cannot build anything. That's what I can say. The public of the whole world, all people of the world, all societies of the world living on this earth, this planet earth, have been developing various nations around the world as well as around the globe. The contributions from all fields, all disciplines of human life are responsible to make it, to develop it, to use it, but a considerable contributions, immense contributions, come from the fields of engineering of all disciplines involving all fields, all spheres, all subjects of engineering, almost. Without the contribution of the engineering field, engineering discipline, engineering profession, engineering science, engineering religion, the life shall cease, life shall not be live actually. Life shall not be live. It shall not work properly. The history is full of various legends of engineering all over the globe. Though there was no engineering education in those days, but yet the minds were full of engineering knowledge, inculcated either by the God gifts or by the clan works inherited from ancestors. There were no many universities around the world, but people used to learn by tutorials of practical experience. Grandfather used to transfer his knowledge to father. Father used to transfer his knowledge to his grandson, his son, and then to his son, to his son. This was the artist. All these were considered qualified you can say artisans, not educated from the universities, but by virtue of attaining experience and attaining that level of understanding and level of doing the job, they used to work on the buildings or on any engineering work. Means it doesn't matter they had any engineering degree or engineering post-graduation, but they were engineers practically. There are so many examples around the world. As you can see that in those days there was no theory of structure or no structures. It's still the structure of standing after a few centuries are over. Engineering contributes from the manufacturing of a needle to space vessels. In all items, engineering is required. For making a small box, for making a small part, for making a big part, for making anything, for making a, you can say, even to destruct something, engineering is required. Forget in manufacturing only. There are many classes of engineering, many subjects of engineering which one cannot study forever, and only few can be studied. In engineering degree just comprises of 40 subjects one has to study, and only 3 or 4 are utilized properly during the engineering profession. All systems are running based on any branch of engineering. Any branch of engineering, means civil engineering, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, or aeronautical engineering, computer engineering, etc., etc., etc. Blah, 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 you can say. The engineering involves a part of art, a part of applied mechanics, a part of applied sciences, a part of health and safety and quality and environment, with the assistance of all codes, national and international, and laws, various laws, different types of laws, regulations, bylaws. Engineering is a very complex term in this age, as contribution from various engineering disciplines are required to accomplish any small task or manufactured piece. Engineering is not simply engineering, it is conception of engineering, it is understanding engineering, it is thinking of engineering, it is applying engineering the best optimum way, in the best economical way, then successfully getting the results, successfully using those, or maintenance of materials, maintenance of products. All these are part of engineering. Business of engineering, you can say. Its whole is a business. Without business, it doesn't matter. I'm not talking of commercial business. Business, in every sector, it's a business. Business of work, business, technical business, you can say. A civil engineer takes the lead at the initial stages and then contributes to the full execution of any project. Execution of any project is a very, very, very big job. In initial stages, goes to second stage, third stage, until the whole building is done. The buildings are the creations of the architectural and the structural engineers with credited supports of the subsidiary disciplines engineers or disciplinary engineers from various other fields, electrical, mechanical, plumbing, IT, instrumentation, and many, many others, not to mention here. Then the workers, specialists from all arts, as well as common also, all respect from the society, as without their laborious contribution and dedication, the people cannot live in beautiful houses. It is easy to spend the money, but without the support of these poor people, houses or buildings cannot be built, and those people having money cannot use the products. It is only you can say, tribute to those people who give their blood and sweat for the construction of these buildings. House is a pious place to live. It's a pious place for those people, for the people who have to live in that for decades, while for a promoter or for a builder, it's just like the process. That is like a factory for making profit. At the risk of those who use, be an active supervisor yourself to check the building is being constructed rightly. Buildings are imagined, thought, conceived, developed, produced, viewed in landscape, stars, etc. Buildings are the glory for the king as well as for a peon. Buildings are the respects for all. Building is a protection from weather and constitutes a security. Buildings is a pride and buildings is a property. Buildings is an understanding and buildings is a comfort. Buildings is a tolerance and buildings is a patience. Buildings is to sleep and buildings is everything. So I will now go on to the previous explanations continuation. And I was on point 28 on my explanations regarding buildings. Let us now discuss about this. An integrated planning I am going to tell. Integrated planning, which is very significant from the viewpoint of the planning and design and then construction. An integrated planning-based complex may contain the elements such as a major piece of land in many hectares. 1 hectare equals 10,000 square meters. Now it's depending on the number of apartments and the main mentions. One mention is a building having many apartments on all the floors. That's called mention. So I'm saying that depending on the number of apartments and the mentions, all external sites, compound walls, the gates, security guard houses, external sewerage systems, external firefighting system, external water supply system, gas supply system, external electrical system, central air conditioning system, buildings management system, access control system, elevated car parking system, complex shopping center, complex nursery, if so required, local police post, if so required, swimming pools, packages, sports facilities, internal park and garden, landscape, plantations, trees, grass, street lights, internal roads, footpaths, walkways, buildings as mentioned, links between buildings for fire exit, gymnasiums, service floors, elevators, garbage chutes, substation, electrical areas in all buildings, cradles if so required, internal drainage, sanitary, garbage disposal, bus parking, autos parking, other parking, CCTV system, satellite TV system, internet system, etc., but not limited to the foregoing descriptions. An independent or a detached building or mansion may contain only a few of the foregoing contents said. A piece of land not in hectares, suppose, depending on the number of apartments on every floor, size of the apartment, number of residents, external services within the plot, scope only. These may be smaller in quantities in comparison to the integrated complex, because I'm talking of an independent building, that's called mention. Internal access roads, internal parking, basement parking, water supply, fire water, storage, sewerage, internal and external, sanitary, gas supply, elevators, electrical system, air conditioning system, CCTV, satellite TV, compound walls, compound landscape, trees, plantation, cradles, garbage disposal, service floor, shops, generally at ground floor, internet, etc., but not limited to the foregoing descriptions. So these are the different explanations about a complex integrated planning as an isolated planning or independent planning. Both are having these types of systems independently. Now, the foregoing major systems as I just narrated. Design activity shall produce a voluminous package of design drawings and other contract documents. These are also valid for a single plotted house up to say 3 stories with the exclusion of elevators as an option. The plotted house design documents may not be that voluminous. There is no need fear looking at the huge volume of documents to be used for the construction and coordination of various disciplinary activities. For major projects, there shall definitely be hired specialist disciplines, senior engineers to study, coordinate, execute and supervise all the operations on one project. All classes of workers shall also work on the same building. A register of drawings and all contract documents is also a piece integrated with contract documents. Now, point 31 is, for the purpose of execution of the project, the foremost operation after appointing the construction contractor is to mobilization by the contractor. Mobilization comprises of taking over the plot from the owner, engineer, erecting temporary fencing on all sides, erecting temporary access gate, erection of site offices for the engineer and for the contractor, provision of sewerage and water supply to these offices, temporary electrical supplies, air conditions, generators, temporary shades for the workers to rest, steel fabrication yard, carpentry yard, storage, guard cabins, water tanks, septic tank, walkways, car parking, firefighting arrangements, site advertising name board, arrangements of gate passes for all the protected areas, site camping if so required for the workers and the staff to reside temporarily, catering services, arrangements, transportation, arrangements for the workers and staff, site refreshment arrangements, etc., etc., blah, 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 we can say. Now, next explanation is 32. That is, after the mobilization is completed or well advanced, the permanent works are to be commenced with. Permanent works, I'm just telling you, the permanent works means those works which shall be included as a part of the contract forever. While temporary works are those which are a part of the mobilization that I just told you, or any work that is used for the construction or for preparation of the permanent work, that is called temporary work. Temporary work could be scaffolding, temporary work could be anything, electrical supply, temporary work could be water supply, anything, safety, means which is going to be removed after the permanent work is done. That is called temporary work. And permanent work means that is a part of the job, part of the project. The very first activity is site setting out coordinates and lines for defining the proposed site controls in horizontal as well as vertical direction in the form of label benchmarks and coordinates using geopositioning system, that is GPS. In the past, we used to set out the sites or lines using theodolites and labels and chain survey and all those survey in very old times. Now electronic equipments have come, just like GPS geopositioning system, which relates to the satellite provisions, and it draws the signals from there, and we get the setting on the site directly without referring to any permanent benchmark. There are so many benchmarks available, and these can be transferred to other benchmarks. So that is the purpose of the GPS geopositioning system. Setting out references are too important that requires high degree of correctness. These references may not be applicable in case of ordinary single buildings or ordinary complexes that have already been defined as respecting surveys. The site working portions are barricaded using timber posts around in vertical locations and horizontal members fixed continuously. All these barricades shall be fixed well, set off all the building lines. All grid references as indicated on the drawings shall be established on these profiles or barricades for the duration of the relevant works. Engineers should confirm these established profiles. The further detailed lines for the excavations are set out to give clearance to the excavation works. Before starting the activity of excavation, an instant survey shall be carried out or information obtained from the authentic authorities pertaining the routing of live services, if any, from the past or current service lines, if so discovered, or informed about the existence of such serving lines. The related body should be requested to take care of the removal or diversion of the discovered service. After the clearance is received, that is from point number 33, after the clearance is received for the excavation, the relevant team for the safety upkeep has to plan its arrangements for the possible measures against the hazards expected on site due to negligence of the respective people. Safety, health and environment, abbreviated as SHE, safety, health and environment, is very significant from the viewpoint of keeping the site safe from the hazards. Since deep excavations are planned for the high-rise or multi-story buildings and other structures, a definite supervision and input to safety element is a must while seeking out cooperation from all concerned. Now onwards, the general operations or activities applicable to various buildings are enlisted hereinafter. For the common information that I am going to tell, just have a look, or just have attention, please. Now, point number A: site surveys in all respects, preparing the site for a quick start. These activities include levels formation and benchmarks, lines control and flying references from fixed satellite bond datum, as explained in the last para. All these have to be recorded contractually for documentation purpose, duly approved by the engineer or the resident engineer on registered third-party certification basis. We can hire a third-party qualified registered licensed surveyor, and he can do the job for you and issue a certificate that the work is correct and he complies with the GPS system. Point number B: location of existing services, as aforesaid I told, and applying the diversion or removal, all in accordance with the contract provisions and the access to the responsible official authorities in this connection. Point number C: after the clearance of the existing services and the installation of all the safety relevant issues and activities, starting the works of the excavations in stages and parts depending on the project plans and the sections. For basements works, if so included on the contract, deep excavation shall be required. That operation may require the continuous dewatering activity by installing well point dewatering system or a sump to collect the draining water using a submersible pump, depending on the nature of the soil. In clay or silt soil, Generally, well-point diverting systems are installed, while in sandy soils, submersible pumps preferably are used to collect the water in the sump, from where further pumping to the ground chamber or a tank is received and then disposed of into a regular permanent chamber. Dewatering is a continuous process and conducted round the clock until the time when the works are taken out to the ground levels. The works are to be done in dry area. Since the dewatering is a continuous operation, standby pumps are definitely recommended. Point number D. During the deep excavations, adequately strong shoring are designed and installed, depending upon the nature of the soil, and definitely required if soil is not very dense, sand or rock. More than 1.5 meter depth of excavation mandatory requires the installation of shoring to prevent the sides from collapsing or caving in the trench. The ramps are also temporarily prepared for easy ingress and exit from the trench. The ladders are also required to be installed so that the workers should not walk more than 8 meters to use the ladder. In major size trenches, benching of slope is also required for maintaining soil slope stability. Benching means a horizontal surface between two slopes. The earth moving machines and trucks or tippers are also allowed into the trenches for fast mechanical work, where millions of hundreds of thousands of cubic meter of earth work is carried out generally, and generally in such cases no isolated excavations are preferred, but mass excavations are carried out for the convenience of the work and expediting the excavation work. Now, in case where the formation level soil is not acceptable due to its being weak in a capacity strength, bad soil shall be removed to the design level and replaced by a good soil volume. The good soil shall be filled in layers, watered and compacted to the specified 95 to 98% proctor density. Proctor density is a value of relative measurement of the field density strength of the compacted soil to the strength of the soil sample submitted for the prime test of the fill material. The final layer of the approved fill soil shall be very well labeled and compacted to be good enough to receive the blinding or the lean concrete layer. In case where no such soil improvement is necessary or is not required, the formation level shall be well dressed and compacted using water in optimum moisture contents percentage. When the soil is well prepared and compacted, good enough to receive the blinding layer of concrete, anti-termite treatment, if included on the contract or specifications, shall be applied by the specialist applicator. The produced membrane shall not be allowed to be broken or disturbed in any way. Covering is immediately necessary. These are the activities only up to foundations, blinding concrete. But this is very important part of the construction of a building. As excavation is particularly a very, very complicated exercise, setting out is a very, very complicated exercise. In case setting out is wrongly carried out, the location of the building will be off. It's very important and to be included within the duties of the engineer, resident engineer and site agent or the contractor's agent or the project manager or the project engineer, that they themselves should ascertain or should make sure that the location of the site, the setting out of the site is according to the design, according to drawing. There should be no variation, no tolerance, no deviation, and it should be within the minimum limits, because it can create future problems or it can create also the handing over problems. Once work is done, it's not possible to remove the work or to re-establish the work or to relocate the work. Therefore, it's very, very, you can say, advisable that the responsible engineers from all the parties, from the engineer side as well as from the party of contractor, that their officers, their engineers must make sure that the work has been done, work of setting out has been done according to the provisions of the design, according to the provision of the rightly located and transferred GPS coordinates and labels. Otherwise, if depth is wrong or level is wrong, building foundation will either be short or more. It will affect the cost, it will affect the service of the foundation. Similarly, wrong location shall make a problem to shifting it. Now, the government will not take over, or it may cause problem for the adjacent building on both sides. Therefore, it's very important. Then the other point is excavation. Excavation may be done in wet ground or it may be in soft ground. While the water table is near to the ground, it's very important that dewatering has to be done. Dewatering is not easy process. It should be done very attentively, because if water is drawn too fast, the particles from the adjacent building can settle. And there can be settlement of other buildings. Therefore, the water should come gradually, steadily, and particularly in the clay soils and in silty soils. The clay soils are very, very dangerous, because clay doesn't permit fast permeable water. Porosity is fine. It's a very good quality. The clay has porosity. It can absorb a lot of water, more than many times percentages of the white's volume. But for the purpose of flow of water within the soil, that's called permeability. If water moves very slow in the clay, so you need a pump of that capacity which can keep the gradual flow of water to the pump and then dispose of. Generally, heavy pumps are used. In Gulf, I have seen, for example, Miller pumps and other pumps. These reciprocating pumps can do good work, but well points are established every meters, and all wells are connected by headers. From there, water is shipped out, and these wells can be placed in various stages. If the depth of the excavation is more, say 9 meters, 10 meters, somewhere more than that, then 3 meters, 3 meters, and 3 meters, excavation has to be done in steps like benches, and well point is to be established everywhere. And these pumps work round the clock. And we also need standby pumps for the purpose of controlling the dewater. Dewatering exercise is done round the clock and it cannot be stopped. Water is not required to be flooded within the foundations. The foundations have to remain dry until the improvement is done, soil improvement is done, foundation binding is done, foundations are done, and foundations are taken over up to the ground level, and waterproofing is done, backfilling is done. So it may take sometimes weeks, it may take sometimes months, or it depends upon the size of the building. It's not that easy. It needs control. It needs supervision. Similarly, when the soil is sandy, there is another way. It's not necessary to establish the well point system. In those, we can use other types of pumps that are reciprocating pumps, submersible pumps. We can, around the foundations, make a small piece of excavation that is called sump, and water, a channel is excavated around the foundations periphery and in a slope, and water can flow into those slopes and come to that sump. In that sump, we can provide a submersible pump, and that submersible pump works, and it draws the water, it sucks the water in and pushes it out to the external sump, from where it can be transported to drainage. It's very important that work should be done in a very, very supervised way, and the competent person should be there. Similarly, safety is very important. Deep excavations need good access. To enter in